Have you ever felt the ground shift beneath your feet when the very player you counted on to shore up the paint vanishes from the conversation? What if, just when the Lakers thought they had an answer in Steven Adams, that answer quietly slips away, leaving us scrambling for Plan B? Could everything we believed about the off-season blueprint suddenly be nothing more than wishful thinking? Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where we dig into every twist, every hidden agenda, and every seismic ripple in LA's quest for basketball supremacy. Smash that like button, subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report, and turn on notifications, so you never miss an update, because what I'm about to share will shake your understanding of our roster plans. Rumor has it that Steven Adams, the hulking, no-nonsense veteran center from Houston, was in the Lakers' crosshairs this summer. It made sense on paper, a 31-year-old who stands 6'11", and still brings 6.6 rebounds and 1.1 blocks per game in the playoffs, even after a knee injury sidelined him for all of 2023-24. He's the kind of physical presence LA desperately needs, someone to clog the paint, corral offensive rebounds, set screens that wail on defenders, and anchor a defense that all too often leaks like a sieve. But just as whispers began swirling about Adams packing his bags for LA, a new bombshell emerged. The Houston Rockets have him earmarked as their top off-season priority. Could this mean the Lakers' dreams of pairing Steven Adams with Anthony Davis are on life support? Is it possible that Adams, the same player who earned $12.6 million last season off a veteran's minimum, is about to re-up in Houston at a price range that might make the Lakers think twice? Some insiders believe that the Rockets, fresh off their own painful playoff exit, see Adams not just as a role player but as the cornerstone of their next push, someone whose elite offensive rebounding and physicality could anchor their budding young core. If that's true, could the Lakers' pursuit of Adams end before it really began? Last season, Adams quietly re-emerged as a key rotation piece for coach Ime Udoka's Rockets, while he only averaged 3.9 points and 5.6 rebounds per game in the regular season. Those counting stats don't tell the full story. Adams' world-class ability to secure second-chance possessions translated to a 5.7 PPG, 6.6 RPG, and 1.1 BPG line in 7 playoff games, numbers that hint at his impact when it mattered most. When Houston clinched those late-season wins down the stretch, Adams' presence in the post was a major factor. He set hard screens in pick and rolls, cleaned up the glass at a nearly 21% offensive rebound rate, and simply refused to concede space in the paint. Could the Lakers replicate that same tenacity with Davis often out-injured or load-managed? Yet, here's where the plot thickens. Kelly Iko of The Athletic reported that the Rockets are engaging Adams' camp on an extension. They want him back, and they're willing to match any front-loaded offer. Could a 2-year, $11 to $12 million deal, or even a 3-year, $15 million contract, be enough to deter LA? Some observers think so, especially since Steven's standing with Houston isn't just transactional. It's deeply relational. After missing an entire season, he received a warm embrace from teammates and coaches who appreciate his two-way production. Fans and front office executives alike believe Adams feels a strong pull to stay in a system that already trusts him, in a city where he's revitalized his career. If that emotional current runs deep, could the Lakers be chasing a mirage? Now, put yourself in Rob Pelinka's shoes. Drafting Davis to peak alongside a rim protector was the original vision. But once Darius Bazley and young wings began to wobble, it became glaringly obvious that LA could not survive another postseason without interior muscle. Early offseason chatter floated Adams' name as the perfect complement to Davis and LeBron. Imagine the pick-and-pop dynamics. Davis dives hard, Adams rolls, LeBron commands the lane, and shooters like Austin Reeves still find pockets to fire deep threes. Yet, with Houston raising its hand and claiming Adams as an extension priority, Pelinka must scramble for alternatives. Could he pivot towards someone like Richaun Holmes or reinvent the overnight blockbuster rumor mill around Claxton? Some insiders believe he might even float a package centered on Rui Hachimura or Kyle Kuzma, anything to get a veteran big man who can replicate Adams' blueprint. But is that simply rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic? Fans have already flooded social media with wild takes. "If we lose out on Adams," one Laker diehard tweeted, "we're toast in the West." Another wrote, "Adams is the last piece we need to handle Denver and Minnesota's size. Without him, it's curtains." Yet there's a contrary camp insisting, "Relax. Anthony Davis and our athletic wings can handle the paint. Focus on adding a shooting guard, not another big." Could this split in fan opinion force the front office to rethink the entire off-season strategy? Some insiders believe that a failed pursuit of Adams might actually be a blessing, pushing LA to address its perimeter holes instead, shoring up spacing that would help Davis operate more freely. Could an unexpected no from Houston be precisely what the Lakers need to pivot toward a more balanced roster? But here's the most tantalizing question. What if losing out on Adams actually sets the Lakers on a hidden path to greatness? What if Pelinka uses this as leverage to entice a bigger fish? Could rejecting Adams be the first step toward a much larger trade, one that brings in multiple assets rather than a single veteran center? Some insiders hint that talks with other teams could be quietly heating up, with names like Walker Kessler or Kristaps Porzingis already whispered in closed-door meetings. Without the distraction of chasing Adams, could LA execute a sweep that lands a more impactful two-way big man, one who offers scoring and shot blocking in equal measure? Still, that entire scenario rests on a delicate balance of negotiation finesse and timing. If Houston's adamant about re-signing Adams early, the Lakers might scramble to pivot and miss their preferred targets altogether. Could this back and forth create a cascading effect that leaves LA in limbo, unable to finalize any major moves before training camp opens? Some insiders believe Pelinka has a contingency plan in place. Keep pressing for Adams until the very last moment. Then, if he commits elsewhere, pounce on whatever quality players remain on the market. But in a league where the best deals happen, when you strike early, is waiting until the 11th hour really a viable plan? Gafford's arrival changes the entire conversation around this Lakers roster. Imagine Andre Drummond's mobility combined with his screening cunning, only now in purple and gold alongside Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Suddenly, the paint is no longer a liability but a fortress. Gafford's rim-running and lob-catching prowess means that every time Davis commands double teams, there's a full 7-0. Back to throw down thunderous dunks, converting those ambushes into high-percentage finishes. Could this be the missing ingredient that unlocks LA's half-court efficiency? Fans are wondering if having a true big man on both ends of the floor might finally let the Lakers dominate inside out the way they've always dreamed. Yet, the more you consider it, the wilder it becomes that they traded away Luka Doncic for Gafford and Nico Harrison. Yes, that same Harrison who earned headlines as the prospect Dallas thought they'd overpay to draft at pick 40, but who ended up slipping in many mock drafts. Now, his rights and Gafford's contract are Lakers' property. Some insiders believe that Rob Pelinka executed one of the boldest one-for-one swaps in recent memory, swapping a generational scorer for a combo of unproven wings and a rebound-hungry center. At first glance, it feels almost heretical. Why would you give up a player who can average 30 points and 5 triples per night? But could this be a case where the Lakers are betting on system fit over star power? Could they be saying, we'd rather have a cohesive 5-man unit anchored by Darius Bazley, Gafford, and Harrison's untapped upside than rely on a solo superstar who demands ALL the possessions? Remember when the Kings tried a similar approach, trading up for De'Aaron Fox at the cost of multiple veterans, believing that pace and youth would overcome any deficits in size? The results were mixed, to say the least. So it's only fair to ask, is the Lakers front office confident enough in Coach Redick's ability to integrate Gafford's athleticism with Harrison's raw talent, along with the veteran savvy of Rui Hachimura and Jared Vanderbilt? Or is this a move born out of desperation, an acknowledgement that if they can't beat the West with a perimeter-heavy lineup, they'll at least try to control the paint? There's also the question of timing. This trade came just as the schedule was about to crank up its intensity. 8 games in 14 nights with back-to-backs against elite opponents. Gafford now gives the Lakers a reliable second-unit anchor when Davis rests, meaning LA could maintain interior defense without sacrificing rebounding. What if, in that stretch, instead of getting steamrolled on the boards, the Lakers hold, serve, or even upset a contender because Gafford cleaned the glass and initiated fast breaks? That alone could swing a few games, keeping them in the top 4 conversation while everyone else scrambles. But let's not gloss over one nagging concern: chemistry. We're, 2 weeks from training camp? How does Gafford fit into an offense that was just beginning to find its rhythm with D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves functioning as key playmakers? Some insiders worry that Gafford's arrival will torque the rotational balance, forcing players like Max Christie or Scottie Pippen Jr. into a smaller role. Could those young wings see their minutes plummet, jeopardizing their development? Is it possible that by prioritizing front-court muscle, the Lakers sacrifice some of the perimeter fluidity that made them lethal in transition during that Thunder blowout? Even Gafford's own history raises questions. He scored just 8.5 points per game last season in Dallas, albeit with a career-high field goal percentage. That efficiency was found in limited mid-range looks and alley-oops. But did he really prove he could stretch the floor or face up against switch-heavy coverages? I've talked to a few scouts who suggest Gafford's defense is still a work in progress, that when he slides to the perimeter, he can get caught flat-footed by quicker small forwards. So, could a lack of lateral mobility on Gafford's part create new defensive vulnerabilities, even as he fixes the Lakers' rebounding woes? On the flip side, Nico Harrison remains one of the most intriguing under-the-radar prospects in the NBA. Coming out of Kansas, he demonstrated a 6'9" wingspan, ability to finish through contact, and a surprisingly smooth shooting stroke for a freshman. Some front office sources believe that if Harrison receives the right coaching, he could become the next Robert Horry, a versatile forward who can guard multiple positions, hit when it matters, and bring that locker room intangibility. Could Harrison be the X factor who finally gives LA a reliable 3-and-D piece to complement LeBron's playmaking and Davis's two-way dominance? Fans are already speculating that with Harrison on the rise, Lakers Nation might quickly forget about losing Doncic if this young wing pans out. We also have to ask, what happens to Luka Doncic in all of this? While fans debate the merits of acquiring Gafford, Mavericks faithful are mourning losing their superstar to the Purple Tide. Could Murray and Finney-Smith find themselves in trade rumors as Dallas pivots to a new trajectory? Some scouts believe that swapping Luka for Gafford and Harrison is Dallas's way of saying, we're going to bet on youth, depth, and a multi-pronged rebuild, rather than hope one cornerstone carries us back to title contention. If that's true, could the Mavericks be quietly relieved, believing that a balanced roster will perform better than a one-man show? And as Laker fans, do we truly understand the gravity of trading away a triple-double machine for a couple of role players? What if, 5 years from now, the NBA views 2025 as the year Dallas started a dynasty while Los Angeles chased shadows? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about statistics or X's and O's. It's a story of identity. Are the Lakers the purple and gold powerhouse that rises and falls on superstar brilliance? Or are they a modern iteration of a basketball franchise that wins through depth, positionless versatility, and relentless defense? Rob Pelinka has long preached that the future lies in constructing a roster where no single player carries the entire burden. But Luka Doncic's departure raises a question. Did they embrace that vision too soon? Could a roster without a legitimate, go-to scorer outside of Davis and LeBron struggle in clutch moments where one man needs to take over? Some voices on Twitter are already tweeting, Gafford can't create his own shot. How do you want him to win playoff games? If those critiques gain traction, could the Lakers' new blueprint become a target of scorn rather than envy? Lakers newsfan report family, the stakes couldn't be higher. We've witnessed trade deadline deals that changed franchise fortunes. Overnight. Remember when the Heat acquired P.J. Tucker in 2020 and immediately metamorphosed into defensive titans? Or when the Bucks swung for Drew Holiday and suddenly possessed an identity that obliterated everyone in their path? Now, it's our turn to see if the Gafford-Harrison combo is a stroke of genius or a cautionary tale. The season is minutes away from tipping off, and the only certainty is uncertainty. But what do you think about all of this? Personally, as a Lakers supporter, I believe this bold move speaks to a willingness to sacrifice star power for long-term balance. I'm optimistic that Gafford's interior dominance and Harrison's upside can coalesce with LeBron and AD to form a well-rounded attack. Yet I'm also wary. Could giving up Luka end up haunting us in clutch playoff moments? I can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments below.